excited for you.
I was just showing Nick the dog that I'm
Thanos.
gonna be getting. No, it's not
I know.
Thanos.
I know.
I wanted to name it Thanos. Obviously, I love
I can see.
my Marvel guys, especially him. But my mom doesn't want to name it Thanos, and I still live at home, so I gotta kind of adhere to what mom requests.
You give him a temporary nickname, sure.
Dude, I named him. I bought a collar for him.
Oh, you
and
did?
I named it Thanos on it. And I told my mom, I said, hey, listen, by the way,
When you're not around.
I said, I ordered the collar and it says Thanos on it. She said, absolutely not. So I hit the company up literally the next morning. I said, all right, listen, there was a discrepancy on his name. Is there any chance that I can change it? And they're like, what do you want to change it to? I said, all right, do not pet. So just, you'll be undecided for right now. But yeah, man, the breeder keeps sending me pictures of it. I keep posting them. Super excited. It's gonna be like my kid.
I think we got to name it after the podcast. Like Josh York said, always be branding, right?
Always those little Rizzles.
There you go.
Little Rizzles. That'd be interesting. We gotta get him a mic when he comes.
Oh yeah.
Pop his big head up there. But to our guest, we have Nick in the house.
I'm excited to be here.
We had multiple people told me that we had to get you on.
Yeah, man.
Nick from Roslyn Social and our man Gareth, who did a phenomenal job talking about his roots and just what he's involved with. And we had a great time with Gareth. So I know we're already going to have a phenomenal time with you. So thank you for coming down first and foremost. Appreciate you.
Thank you for
Happy to
having
have
me.
you.
Yeah, of course. Look, we got to get him more stuff, but I already hooked him up with the refillable Tame the Beast bottle.
Oh, the to-go bottles, the
To
one
go.
you can bring on the
So
planes.
this way you could just like hit it up on the plane, bring it on vacation with you, and we don't have to waste any more plastic to a degree. You know, unfortunately, the shit still happens, but you know, we're gonna fill him up with that, and then we're gonna get some shampoo for him. So we're gonna hook you up, baby.
Awesome.
And you have an exquisite beard. And
Yeah, I
mustache.
was gonna nip that in the bud right there. Go, how do you hold that up, and how can I make it happen?
I always joke and I always say magic. I always tell people I'm a wizard. But
Well,
yeah,
besides that, we knew that.
We knew that when you walked in, man.
yeah.
yeah, just wax it up. I haven't done it actually all week, and I've been in the gym, and my mustache has been like getting in my mouth all week.
Is that what it does? It droops down when it's
That or like if I'm sparring, I put on my headgear, and sometimes you get punched in the face. It gets in your mouth. But yeah, but I knew I was coming here today, so I had to bring out the horns.
Oh, he got
Oh,
fantastic.
man.
See, I got the fade yesterday, and he did up the mustache today. I love it.
Oh, there you go.
John, what the fuck did you do?
I used my beard oil,
Oh, did you?
my Tame the Beast beard oil.
Did you like it?
It was awesome. You know what? So I have the beard butter from that company you showed me that I use in the morning.
Grave
to
before
help.
shave, send the check.
There you go. And I used it to shape it a little bit, just so my hairs aren't all over the place. And then Tame the Beast has the beard oil, which Nick kindly allowed me to steal, since I'll use a little bit more than he will.
Yes, yeah, I shave my shit down.
And you know what? Ever since I started using, I'll use that right before I go to sleep. So now I won't wake up with like the beard dandruff.
Yeah.
So it's perfectly moisturized, and that's what for those of you that don't know, the beard oils is like a moisturizer, and then the creams help to like mold it. So it'll wake up fully moisturized, and I'll put the beard butter in there, which is an oil and a cream, so it lavers it up even more, nice and moist, shapes it up, and I'm good to go.
And then when you get like Nick's level, you use wax, right? Is that how you
That's
use?
exactly what that
See,
is.
I knew it. Oh
Or
my god.
or frog toes and
What?
other potions.
Oh, just such an ass. So Nick, tell me, man, what? So besides having an exquisite mustache, I'm gonna keep saying that. I love that.
Well, that's
Exquisite
it.
mustache.
We're done now, right?
Yeah, that's it, right? That's why
That's
he
it.
came in. We needed
Nick,
to see the mustache
thanks
and
for
go.
coming in.
I know that Gareth and Nick from Roslyn Social told
Yep.
me that you're very heavy into the boxing. You own your own studio.
Yes.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about what got you into boxing earlier on? I guess.
Yeah, so I originally started out being a hockey player. I was a hockey player from the ages of 6 till 16, and I am one of the only people ever to be thrown out of USA Hockey for fighting.
I thought he was gonna say something
Really?
like Happy Gilmore, the only one that got kicked out for trying to stab a guy with my skate.
Yeah, so I got actually thrown out of hockey for fighting, and because when you're younger and you're a kid, they don't want you like assaulting people and beating the shit out of people on the ice. And
Yeah.
I was a defenseman, so if anyone's familiar with hockey, the defenseman protects the goalie. So when the goalie has the puck, if you touch the goalie, I'm going to put you on your head. Or if the puck goes into the corner, I'm going to charge into you at 20 miles an hour, crash into you, and take the puck away.
There
so
you go.
sometimes there was a lot of fights that went on, and when you're a kid, you're not allowed to fight. So I got thrown out of fighting. I got thrown out of hockey, and then I pursued a career in boxing.
And what age did you stop doing hockey?
When I was 16 years old.
Okay.
So I was still in high school, and I no longer could play hockey, and then I had no outlet. So I tried to tell my mom for years that I wanted to do boxing, and no, you're gonna break your face, you're gonna break your nose, and people are gonna punch you in the head. I'm like, it's my head, it's my nose. Like,
So let me preface this, and I want you to go back. How many times have you broken your nose?
15 plus. 15 plus.
So she kind of was right.
She was definitely right. I mean, I was just stubborn, and it's something I wanted to do, and yeah.
Well, listen, good for you for pursuing what you
Yeah,
want to
man.
do and knowing, because a lot of kids don't know when they're younger. They don't really understand what they want to get themselves into, but knowing that you didn't have that outlet of hockey anymore and you moved to a different sport, extreme sport.
Yeah.
Did you play anything else, or you just knew boxing was kind of what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I mean, boxing is what I wanted to do because, besides hockey and being a hockey player, I like the extreme sports. I'm very physical and aggressive in nature. So I wanted to find a way to channel that energy. Grew up, I had a little bit of, like most boys, but I had some anger issues. I had some, aggression, and I needed to do something with that. And if you don't have an outlet, it can get the best of you. So I said, what better way than boxing? So in high school,
There's a lot of young kids that don't have that outlet, and then that aggression just overwhelms them, especially at a younger age, and they just let it get out of control, as opposed to channeling it in something productive, learning a skill like boxing, and then being able to pursue it from a young age all the way up till whenever, as a sport and not just an activity.
And a sport is great too, because I love it for the sport, but just even as an activity, you're working out, you're getting in shape, you're learning self-defense, and being a young kid when you're 14, 15, 16, everybody's a macho man, everybody's a tough guy, we all got our egos, you're going through puberty, the testosterone's kicking in, so like when all that's going on, people have their egos and the confidence, and then you wind up like get into fights when you're in school or in the parks or in the neighborhood or wherever it may be. And I said, I had my fair share of experience with that. And I said, that's not what I want to be doing. And I want to put it to a positive outlet. And I said, I want to be in the boxing gym and I want to learn boxing. And this is what I want to do. And I took myself off of like the neighborhood and off of the street and said, okay, I'm going to focus myself in the gym and put myself towards something productive. So I thought that was a smart move for me.
Yeah. I mean, not everybody really is that, I guess you could say, mentally sound with knowing how to channel that energy in a positive way. Because, like I said, they'll let it get out of control. They'll start fighting in school. They'll start fighting anywhere they can. And they'll just continue to do it. They won't have that almost epiphany where they say, all right, you know what, it's time that I do something good.
Yeah, I mean, I was one of those people, unfortunately. So, like, when I got thrown out of hockey and then you're hanging out after high school and you're hanging out. I used to go to Cardozo High School, so I was hanging out on Springfield Boulevard and, a lot of different people from a lot of different neighborhoods. And
Melting pot.
It's a melting pot, which is great because, I get along with everybody, but you can only throw so many things in a pot and expect everything to mix. So, sometimes shit went down and I found myself a lot of times in the middle of it. So, instead of, being in the street and hanging out in the parks and not having anything to apply myself toward, I said, I want to be in the gym. And I did that because, unfortunately, I got in trouble a couple of times when I was younger. Nothing bad, but
We all have. We've all been there.
Yeah.
People are tough guys. People want to start fist fights. They put their hands up. They get their butt kicked. And
From your experiences, and I know all three of us can probably agree on this, it's always the loudest dudes that fall the hardest, right?
Yeah, a lot of dudes fall the hardest, and just in general, I'm very big on respect. Like, even since from when I was 16 years old, 6 years old, and now I'm 31, like, I'm very big on respect. I show everybody respect, and I demand respect in return because I show everybody respect. And I feel that's the ultimate strength is giving people respect. So when I was younger, if somebody disrespected me, someone was aggressive or nasty, now I know self-control. I know how to diffuse. I walk away. But when I was younger, I'm like, what'd you say, motherfucker? You want to knuckle up right now? We can go. Like how I have with that boxing.
I'm training all week for this. Let's go, kid.
How I have that boxing mentality, I had that when I was younger, 16, 17, 18. And when you're younger, you're like, I'm not going to get in trouble. The principal's going to call my mom. But when you're older, there's real consequences out there. And, I said, okay, I need to smarten up. And I went into the gym with it instead of, being out in the street with it.
I think we're in that last generation. You're young as hell.
Oh,
I think
please.
It's like 22, 23. How old are you? 18?
Like 16, going on 12.
I think we were that last generation almost because I'm 28. So I think you and my generation are kind of like the last ones where now you flick somebody wrong and legal action's instantly done.
Yeah.
Where you could knuckle up back in the day, settle the shit and then just let the dust clear and everyone's cool the next day or on Monday when they get back to school.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, I remember when I started getting older, freshman year wasn't that big a deal. And then as we kind of get onto senior and then college, it just became so crazy with everybody just suing left and right if you breathed on them wrong. So
that's exactly what happens, and I don't encourage anybody to get into a fist fight, but don't start no shit and then cry wolf and then say, oh, this guy beat me up. Like, oh, well,
you started.
What'd you do? Yeah, exactly.
Where'd you go to high school?
Seaford.
Seaford. So you were in Queens or Brooklyn? Queens. Okay, that's what I thought. All right.
Yeah,
so now what?
I was a little school.
Oh, you had a little school?
Little school. I think I can't remember how many graduating. Maybe a couple hundred.
That amazes me when people know how many people graduated in their class. I don't remember even going to class. I was playing handball every day.
We were just sitting there counting. We weren't paying attention to class.
For real, man. I don't even remember going.
There's over 8,000 kids in my high school.
Oh my
Shit.
god!
I had the 4th or 5th largest high school in the country. It was way overpopulated because the zoning for that high school. I went to St. Mary's in my freshman year, and unfortunately, I got thrown out for fighting because it wasn't my fault. The star basketball player on the team, like we're in gym class, he bounced the basketball off my face, and I told him it wasn't funny. If he did it again, I was going to punch him in the face. He did it again. I punched him in the face. And in Catholic high school, my first year going to Catholic high school, you can't get into fist fights. You can't curse. You can't do anything. So 2 weeks in, that's what happened. I got thrown out of St. Mary's in my freshman year. And then sophomore, junior, and senior year, I went to Cardozo. And Cardozo is the largest zoning school, high school in the area. So you got everybody from every neighborhood that if you get thrown out of any school and nobody will take you, they're like, oh, yeah, come over here. That's where I went to high
Sure,
school.
why not?
Yeah,
What's
sure.
another one?
We got everybody. The fuck not? Come on in.
We don't even realize who half the kids are.
Do you know how to work a plunger? Because we're short on janitors, but we're going to start working the kids in specialties.
So what I'm curious about is you take this thing that's aggression,
Yeah.
right? And where's the separation between this thing that always got you into trouble growing up, right? And that you realized you had to learn how to channel it, that turned into a passion to literally make a living at it and teach people to defend themselves. Where's that dividing line?
The first thing I would say is discipline, because just because I'm very physically capable now doesn't mean that I want to go out and get into trouble and use the skills and everything that I've learned so far to go out and use it on people in the streets. So discipline would definitely be one, and just focus. I mean, if you have that energy and that passion to do something, fighting with people in the street is not going to get you anywhere. Getting into trouble in the street is going to bring you backwards. So I said, okay, I like boxing. I always liked boxing, and I said I wanted to, make a run for it. So I like the sport, and I felt that I was pretty good and capable to do it, and I ran with it. And when you have the time, the energy, and the effort and the passion to do something, you go all in on it. And then that's just my life from 16 to 25 revolved around specifically boxing from morning to night, and school and work and everything in between. But my whole life revolved around boxing because that was my passion. So that's how I figured that out.
Was it a tough transition going in, learning that discipline in a boxing gym, being around all the other guys that maybe have done it for years and knew that self-discipline? I mean, coming from I guess you could say, not a fighting background, but you were a little bit getting rough at here and there, and going into an academy or a boxing school that has more, I guess you could say, stability, and this is kind of how we do things. Was it a challenge for you, or did you fit right in?
I mean, I fit pretty much right in. I mean, I was the youngest one in the class, in the group, so I was 16, trained with the adults, and a lot of the adults had years of experience, and I boxed in Glen Cove at a school that's no longer around. It was Panza Boxing.
Oh, Panza's
All right,
in
yeah.
Bev's.
Yeah, they have the gym in the back of there.
So was Derek your
there you go.
teacher?
Derek was the owner of the school. He used to teach every once in a while. There was a couple other people that were teaching at the time. But
Small world,
everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
That's how, and especially in that world. But I fit in pretty well. I mean, I as a person, I'm very humble and respectful, as I was saying, very nice. But I mean, I didn't like at the time if someone pushed my buttons or challenged me in any kind of way. As a fighter, you have that mentality of I'm ready for anybody, anytime, anywhere, and you're halfway looking for a reason. I mean, in a boxing sense, you know. So now in the gym, I was in the gym many a times. People call me out or people say this and that. I'm like, okay, put your headgear on, put your gloves on, and I view that as a sport. So now I'm not like fist fighting with you. I'm doing it as a sport in the gym, and it's recreational. And it was actually pretty healthy because I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to get in trouble. We're gonna box. We're gonna have a good time. And hey, you want to do it next week? Let's go. Like,
It's
you
like
know,
the
we're
perfect
running
little
back.
loophole.
Yeah, it was. It honestly was a
Yeah.
loophole, you know. And then I said, okay, I like doing this. And you know, some of my closest friends I've ever made in life in general have been through boxing, and these are people I've went to war with every single week. And then you just develop a certain kind of friendship and respect for these people. So I really love that aspect.
Yeah. And now, going into working at Panzas, so you were still in Queens. You lived in Queens?
I lived in Little Neck, and I was taking the bus from Little Neck to Glen Cove. I believe it was the N21, and took it from being 16 years old, getting on the bus. Every once in a while, my father used to take me as well, but jump on the bus, boxing gloves, gear, put my headset on, and take the bus out there, and train out there for an hour and a half, 2 hours a night, and then take the bus home.
And it was every night? It was weekends too, or was it just like Monday to Friday kind of
I believe it was Monday to Friday. Every once in a while, I used to train on the weekends. But when I was younger, you know, you hang out with your friends, you're going to the park, you're chasing the girls around, stuff like that. But yeah, that's what I was doing when I was younger.
And so then going into the gym and obviously transitioning from hockey to boxing, what was kind of the first things that you had to learn? Was it the fundamentals of just in general putting your hands up, or did you already have a grasp for that?
I had an idea. I mean, but even after I was training 5, 6, 7 months, I had my first fight 7 months in, and again, rough and tough kid, had a lot of potential, had a lot of toughness, and I didn't really understand boxing. I watched it for a while, but I'm like, well, boxing, like I'm gonna get hit and you're gonna get hit, and we're gonna see like who's still standing. Like that's not what it's about. But I mean, at the time, I had the coaches that were working at Panza. I don't want to say their name, but they didn't really teach me all the stuff that I needed to know and learn. And I mean, 3, 4 months in, broke my nose, and then broke my nose again, and then broke my nose again and again
Yeah,
and
they
again
are.
and again and again.
Nose breaking.
And you know, I wasn't really taught all the things that I needed to know. I was just rough and tough, and I had a lot of heart. And they were like, "Oh, kid, you want to fight?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I want to fight. I'm fighting on the street anyway. I might as well fight in the gym in competition, you know." And then I was 17 years old. My first fight was in the Golden Gloves. I fought somebody that was 25 years old from the Air Force that had like 50 fights, and I'm like, "Oh shit, it's not good." But yeah, I went into doing competition, and I started learning things as I went along, but a lot of what I learned was, I mean, from people teaching me, but when you encounter a struggle and a challenge, you can either say like, hey, I don't want to do this anymore, or I need to get better at this. What can I do to get better? And then I started putting my time in outside of the gym to teach myself and educate myself on what I need to know when I get in there, because I didn't have people teaching me and guiding me the way that I felt that I should have been taught.
And where'd you reach out? I know I don't want to
Yeah, no, you're
John
good,
had
you're good.
something, but where did you find this information?
Honestly, like it's a lot of YouTube. Like when I was younger, again, being an aggressive fighter coming forward in boxing, you're gonna get punched in the nose. So okay, how do I not get punched in the nose? Who does this really well? Mike Tyson. So Mike Tyson was an animal, not only in his physical nature, but just the science behind what he does. He has his own style, the peekaboo style, make him miss, make him pay. And I said, oh, and I used to watch him, and I mean, this was more than a passion. This was an obsession to me. So I said, for hours, besides school and get my homework done, okay, I'm going to train on the bus. I'm watching an hour of Mike Tyson on the bus there, watching an hour of Mike Tyson on the ride home, and saying, okay, he's doing it like this, he's doing it like that, and just studying it, you know, learning like that, and then going into sparring, like, oh, I'm going to try this, and like almost like imitating him, like to be like, all right, let's see what works, and trial and error, and eventually, off of all the errors, you figure out the right way. So that's how I got that done.
Yeah, you know, that's what a lot of people don't understand is they try to pick up one thing and do exactly what it is, but you follow his styles like a little template, and I'm assuming you just took it to yourself. You know, well, this one works better for me, that works better for him. You know, people try to follow the exact same training. You know, how many magazines do we see that say, Mr. Olympia's leg day? Well, guess what? That doesn't work for me. Why? Because I can't squat, or because this, or because that. But you take everything you'll see with a grain of salt and say, well, all right, this is what this guy did. He was successful. This guy did something totally different, but he was just as successful at it. So what works for me? You know,
Exactly.
or blend everything together. I mean,
Yeah.
especially when I was in sales, it's a totally different topic. But when I was in sales, when I was younger, and I was a Magnolia Pro, so I used to work at Best Buy, and then they had a separate area called Magnolia, which was the higher end home theater. And to get into that room, you had to be certified up the ass and all this stuff, and you really had to know how to bring a client in. Give them an audio demo, a surround sound demo, know the speakers, know the in and outs, know what they're going to be enjoying, and then give them the reasoning why you think that's a good solution for them. But when I first started, they had me training with a bunch of different guys. So I would see what he did, I see what he did, I see what he did, and then I would mash it all together in my own way, and it worked wonders for me. So that could be applied in anything, honestly.
That's exactly what I did with the boxing. I mean,
Yeah.
I started with Mike Tyson. I studied him, and then I was like, okay, who else? And then I started a little bit of Roy Jones. I started a little bit of Sugar Ray Leonard, and a little bit of Floyd Mayweather, and a little bit of James. I picked the greatest fighters to ever do one specific thing, studied the shit out of them from morning to night for weeks and months on end, went into sparring, tried it out, test and learn, and trial and error, and then said, okay, and then I got the hang of it, and then I started studying more and more, and then I put it all together to make it my own, so that way again, most of what I've learned is, I'd say about 90% self-taught, so I said, okay, let me take the best guys to do one specific thing, and then, embrace it myself.
That's cool. And now, how many fights did you do? Did you wind up doing?
I wish I would have had a lot more fights. Only had 7 fights because the thing is, every time I was getting ready for a fight, I broke my nose. When you break your nose, you go to the doctor. It was the same doctor, and he used to it was like, oh, let me guess. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Just do the fucking X-ray, because I mean, it's just I'm Greek, so like my bone structure for my nose, I had a fucking beak, so like if you get hit and you have a long pronounced nose, it's more likely to break. So I just
Did you have the surgery to reset it,
I had 4 of them.
or they just? So
Wow.
they put you out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I only broke my nose once playing flag football, and they had to put me out. I had to come back 2 days later because the swelling was so bad. But I'll never forget, like, waking up, that feeling. You're just like, whoa.
Yeah, it wasn't fun.
feel like you got into a fight. Like, literally, again.
Yeah.
So you got into the original fight, and then you got into another fight after the surgery.
And I didn't get to. A lot of the injuries happen in training, so it wasn't like it happened in a competitive fight. And you're training, you're sparring, you're training, you're sparring, and then all of a sudden, like, oh, you got to fight 4 weeks out, 2 weeks out, you break your nose. Shit. Okay, fine. I got to wait 6 weeks for my nose to heal. Then I got to train for 2 to 3 weeks to then start sparring, and then after that, let's line something up for a month and a half to 2 months from then. Train, break the nose. 6 weeks again, and then it happened over and over and over, and then a nose surgery, had to recover for 4 months, then it happened again. So it was just like a constant thing that every time I was getting ready for fights, I just kept snapping my nose. And like, that's the one thing you can't control is your bone structure. Like, if someone's like, give me a beating, like, beat me up, but I mean, break my nose, and like, I used to go in there and just, not bragging, but I used to pound people and beat the hell out of people and get hit with like 3 punches, and all of a sudden walk out with a broken nose and be pouring all over the place. And if you're going to be a boxer, you're going to get punched in the face. So,
So what's better, a flatter nose?
a flatter nose is definitely better. I mean, just, genetically speaking, a lot of the Mexican fighters, a lot of the Puerto Rican fighters, a lot of the African American fighters, they have flatter noses to their face. If you're Greek, if you're Italian, if you're Jewish, if you're Russian, if you have that pronounced nose and somebody wings a hook and they only hit your nose and not anything
Yeah.
at all on your face, it just hits your nose, you're absorbing a lot of impact, and your nose is not meant to be punched. So, like, not to be funny,
Breaking news.
but yeah.
Heard here first. People are sitting at home. Oh shit! That's why it keeps breaking.
Doctors hate us. That'll be the thumbnail title.
But if you have a flat nose, it's very hard to break your nose because there's less surface area.
Yeah.
So I broke my nose a lot. I only got to have 7 fights, and in between all that, I said, "Oh man, I need to get better." I got better, and no matter how good I got, you're gonna get punched in the face. And with all the broken noses, the last time I fought, I was 24 years old, and I broke my nose in the Golden Gloves. I did really well. I beat the best guy in the division in the first round of the tournament. Second round of the tournament, which was the quarterfinals, I beat the guy. I thought I beat the guy, but I mean,
Would it come down to a decision?
a split decision.
Yeah.
2 judges said I won, 3 said he won. And then after that, I said, all right. I was 24 years old and didn't go the way I expected it to go. I kept breaking my nose, and I said, all right. Competitively, I had enough with trying to pursue a fighting career. And then I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I'm like, And then I eventually figured out my way into coaching, which was not an easy path to figure that out.
No.
Not at all.
I would think that you'd have almost like a natural talent to transition from that.
I did. I mean, it wasn't part of my plan to be a coach when I was like 24, 25 years old. My goal and my ambitions was to be a professional fighter, to make a living and a career off of fighting, because that was my passion. And from 16 to 24, I dedicated myself from morning, afternoon, and night. My whole life revolved around boxing. So the fact that I had to give that up at a younger age, and 24 is not young, but it's not old.
No,
either.
that's young. It's young.
You know,
in the grand,
23?
Yeah, 23.
Yeah.
You know, and
In the grand scheme.
that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then when that kind of dream got killed on me a little bit, I was like, And then, you know, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I had to get 2 surgeries. So after I stopped boxing, I had to get elbow surgery for my left elbow, because I had every problem you can imagine, from overtraining and
From
overextending, bone chips, bone spurs, tendonitis, tennis elbow, everything. So I had to get that fixed.
So what did they do?
That's a good question. I mean, they took away the bone chips
Any pins or anything like that? No.
No pins, but took away like the bone chips that were floating in my joints. They helped me. I'm not particularly sure what they do with tendonitis, but they helped me out with that and a couple other things. But I mean, it was very complex. It was like 3 or 4 things in the same exact surgery.
At this rate, they just took it out and put a new one in.
I wish they would have.
They turned it off and they turned it
Swap
back on.
it. Get a new elbow.
I wish they would have done that with my nose. I'd still be boxing right now. But
What was the recovery time on that?
Oh my God, the surgeon was very optimistic. Oh, you'll be back in 3-4 months. It took me a year and a half.
Yeah, sounds
I'll
about
do it.
right.
You know, but
They don't want to overpromise it.
yeah, I mean, 4 months to a year and a half was a big difference.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, but I was going through the recovery on that, and then nose. And at the time, again, boxing was all I was doing. I was going to college. I was working with my father as well, doing construction, and going to college as well for exercise science. I knew I wanted to eventually coach, but I didn't want it to be in my 20s. I wanted it to be in my 40s. I wanted to have
After
my
a successful career.
Right.
That was the plan. And then when you go into business and you have the name and you have the following and everything else, then if one of these top level guys or very notable guys opens up a gym, that in itself is branding, you know. So
Like the Gracies and stuff like that.
exactly. I mean,
Panta.
people that don't pay. I mean, even that and Gracie's, like you were saying, there's a lot of. You don't have to know anything about fighting at all. You hear the name Gracie, you know exactly what that is.
You know that's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and same thing with Sarah. I mean,
exactly.
you know, you saw a couple of the Sarah pop-up schools, and I think he still has both schools or just one of them now.
I know he has one in East Meadow, I believe.
There was one in Huntington.
There was one in Huntington as well. I'm not sure if he has any more.
Yeah, but like you said, that's branding. That's the
It's
name
every-
recognition.
and
Every
that's
field in the world.
Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to do after my fight career, but I never got to fully have the fight career because of injuries. I mean, I hate to like make excuses, but it's not an excuse. Like if my nose didn't break and snap as much, I'd still be fighting. But unfortunately, things happen, and then you got to adjust in life. So I said, okay, now what am I going to do? And I was still working with my father. I was doing construction and demolition.
Back-breaking work.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I hated every fucking minute of it. You know, hour and a half commute to the city to work
God.
work an 8-hour day. You know, not great pay. Sorry, Pop,
Yeah.
but not great pay. And then hour and a half on the ride home, and just like hating my life, hating every moment of it. And I was like, okay, like what do I want to do for the rest of my life? Like you have to do something that you're pumped about, that you're excited. And if you're not excited and you're not pumped about what you're doing, you're in the wrong field. Like, so it took a little bit of searching and figuring that out. And in my head, like, yeah, I love boxing, but how am I going to make a career? How am I going to like make a living off of boxing other than fighting? And then I said, okay, you know, I was taking all the civil service exams. I took the Port Authority exam. I took the court officer. I took corrections. I took all these civil service exams, and nobody called me at the time. And then I scored really well too, but nobody called me. They, oh yeah, well, you're on a list number. You're number 6,000.
Probably
I got a 95. I'm 6,000.
Probably
Yeah.
a blessing in disguise, honestly.
It was,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I eventually got a phone call from Port Authority, which was considered the best civil service job. You're making 6 figures, and you're hanging out at the airport. It's more or less like a glorified security guard because they don't really have to deal with too much shit. I mean, as long as nothing goes down, if it does, you show up. But I got the phone call after I started training for a little bit, and I turned it down because I was like, that's not what I want to do. And I had a lot of pushback from my parents. My parents were like, well, are you kidding me? That's an amazing job. And blah. I said, I don't
That's
want to do it.
unfortunately parent duties because they want you to not take
Yeah.
the easy route.
No.
But they want you to take the guaranteed. So this way you're not scrapping around and scrunging and trying to do everything you can to keep afloat, they know that you're going to get the benefits. They know that you're going to have the job. And so nothing against parents, because my mom does that. Even my mom says every now and then she'll be like, "Oh, you should get a part-time job while I'm having this." I'm like, "Do you see how much I run around?
Yeah.
Part-time job, and I'm gonna have the dog soon. I can't do that."
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, for the benefits." Okay, well, you know what? I got dental and vision. Okay, as long as nothing else happens around the other areas, I'm good.
Yeah, it was also a different generation. I guess my parents' generation, there wasn't too many entrepreneurs. Like, if you were an entrepreneur, you were a loser. Like, you were somebody that was like just trying to scrap by to do your own thing. But now it's more culturally accepted to be an entrepreneur.
Well, Josh York, and I want you to say after. Josh York said it on his podcast when he did one with us. He's the CEO of Gym Guys. Fastest growing fitness franchise in the world. He's an unbelievable person. But he says, what was I forget what the percentage was. It was like something like 80 to 90% of people drive to work every single day committing spiritual suicide. Just like you going into the city doing the construction. You absolutely hated it.
Hated it.
Yeah, and think about
I'd
how many
say
people
90 sounds a little low.
Yeah, right? I mean, think about how many
Yeah.
people go into the city every single day, commute, work the job. Then they go out for drinks with their coworkers.
And that's their highlight.
And then that's their highlight, number one. Number two, what time are you getting home? You got to be up at 4 a.m. the next morning. You got no life. You work for the weekends. And
Yeah.
I told someone, I recently told my boy, I forget what day it is now. He's
I
like,
have no idea.
It's Friday, yo, what are we doing? Friday? What the fuck? I thought it was Wednesday.
Yeah.
So it's important that you find what you are passionate about, what you enjoy doing. You know, this doesn't feel like work for me. This type of stuff. I was out at a shoot for 3.5, 4 hours today, setting up, breaking down. That part kind of sucks. But the actual shoot itself and getting to create and work with business owners, brands, people, that's fun. Like it's better than when I was grinding away at a sales job and they were like, those Q1 numbers, a little low this month. You know, what are we going to do about it?
Exactly.
Who wants to do that shit?
No, and you got to be passionate about it. I mean, passion, excitement. I mean, it's and purpose. Like it's all the above. And if you don't have that in what you're doing, like you're almost doomed to fail, because what's your motivation to? I mean, I forgot exactly which motivational speaker said. I watch a lot of motivational speakers on business and life and coaching and all these different things. But, if you're not as passionate about something, somebody out there is competing against you. They're willing to work 1 hour less because they don't like it. You're willing to work 1 hour more because you love it. And those extra 2 hours is where winning and losing happens.
And not to mention the person working that one less hour that doesn't love it, they're not going to put as much effort in that hour that you will.
Exactly.
So, you know what? You could work the exact same hours. Hell, you could work 1 hour less because you have a lot more shit going on than the guy who doesn't love it, but thinks, hey, you know what? This is a good outlet to make some money. But because you love it and you have a passion for it, you're going to get way more done in that hour than the other guy will.
And you have to love it. If you don't love
Absolutely.
it, where's the motivation to put the extra work in and grind? Or when things get tough, it's very easy to just throw the towel in and go, I tried, it didn't work. Like, you got to grind that shit out and keep going until you get to where you want to get to.
What truly makes you want to kick your feet out of the bed every morning and plant them down and go, I'm gonna make today my bitch. Like, that's really what you got to think about. You can listen to all the motivational speakers in the world, and it's good motivation, and it's good to amp you up. But if you aren't happy, nothing's gonna help you.
Yeah, happiness is definitely the thing that drives anybody in anything in life. I mean, I watch a lot of Gary Vee, and like a lot of what I say comes particularly from a lot of what he said. Gary Vaynerchuk, if you guys follow him, or are familiar
Yeah,
with
we have a couple of people that have been on the podcast, a couple of guys that I do videos with are very close with him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I actually edited some of his footage from a not his personal, but one of the guys I do stuff with. I was editing his video of him interviewing him because they're
Get outta
boys.
here.
Yeah, it was cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, he talks about happiness a lot. Like, could you get a job that's going to make $150,000 a year, but you hate your life? Or could you get a job that's going to make 70 or 75, but you love what you're doing? It's a matter of happiness and balance. And one word that he always uses a lot is self-awareness. You got to know who you are. Like, the people that want to do their 9 to 5 Monday through Friday and hang out on the weekends and take their vacations and do whatever they want to do, that's beautiful if that's what makes you happy. Like,
kudos.
Right now I'm doing 12 13-hour days, so like people look at me like, oh my god, you're crazy, you're doing a 12-hour day and you're gonna burn out and you're this and that. Like, I'm doing all right, don't worry about me. Just because you can't do it doesn't mean that it doesn't work for me. You just got to know what you want to do and then execute on what you want to do.
And it's a 13-hour day that you're happy to do. That's for you. At the end of the day, you can't fire yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Unless you quit.
Literally throw the towel in.
Yeah, seriously. But they're coming from the mentality of working for somebody else being miserable all day. But if you built this thing from the ground up, from literally nothing but an idea in your head, then you see this whole building around you, see all these people that are literally changing their lives because of the time you're putting in. It's something you love doing. 12-hour day, it's nothing. It's a cakewalk.
And it all starts with a vision of like what you want to do with your life. Where do I see myself a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And when you say like build something from the ground up, like my vision of where I started with 0 students, 0 clients, 0 hours. And then I was like, when I was taking all those tests, I'm like, all right, I'm going to start training people in boxing. I like boxing. I used to teach my friends just for fun, like, hey, put your hands up. Let me show you something. What I learned
just in case
today.
we get fucked up,
Yeah.
jumped in the ball.
If shit goes
I
down.
can't have you acting like a bitch hiding behind the garbage can. Put your dukes up.
Right, and I did that just for fun, just because I liked it and enjoyed it, and I was good at not only like with the knowledge that I learned, but I was good at teaching. I liked helping people, and I was like always into like the service industry and people, and I said, all right, well, what do I like to do? I like boxing, I like teaching people, I like helping people. So if I can teach people and help people learn boxing, which is stuff that I didn't feel that I learned the right way, then I'm kind of like doing what I like to do and helping people and changing people's lives all at the same time. So I said, this is pretty cool. So I started with 0 hours. I got one client, and then I got another client, and then sometimes people came, sometimes people went. So it constantly like went up and down for a bit. And then when I started working at one of the gyms that I was just using, I was renting the space from Rebel Thai Boxing in East Meadow. That's where I met Nick.
I know it, right on
On Hempstead Turnpike.
Yeah, right on Hempstead Turnpike.
Yeah, so the 2 owners there, I knew one of the owners from LA Fitness. I used to lift weights. I used to see him over there. We used to spar. We used to hang out and stuff like that. And he was opening up a gym, and after he opened the gym, I was like, hey, can I come down and use the gym? And I started using the space over there, and I worked it out over there, and I started building it up. And in the beginning, it was super slow, and it picked up, and it was a lot of challenge. And again, I got the pushback from my friends or my family. It was like, oh, be inconsistent. It's this, it's that. And I put my fingers in my ears. I didn't listen to what anybody told me, because I was like, this is what I want to do. I did it. I stuck it out. And I filled out my schedule to the point where like I couldn't take any more people. And for the last 3 years, I'm blessed to say that I was overbooked, and I had a waiting list. And I said, yeah,
That's
definitely,
it. Yeah.
definitely.
Love it, dude.
And I said, I have to make the next move. And I opened up the gym, and I was trying to open up this gym for like a year and a half.
And now this is your own personal space.
This is my own personal space.
That's
yeah.
awesome. So
And,
not sublet from anybody else.
no. So that's where I started.
Good
I
for
built
you,
that
man.
up,
Yeah.
and then I said, okay, I took the leap, and I said, I'm going to get my own spot. And getting to that point was a nightmare. I mean, if I told you the story of how everything went from how many deals I had and fell through and the challenges, it would, I'm sure you guys heard a lot, but it'd make your head spin on like the things that I went through to get to this point of not only just earning the business, but opening a store. It was, you think like, oh yeah, you're going to find a place, you make a deal and you got it done.
No, I have.
Oh my God.
I have my gym out east, so when I opened my place, it was a nightmare. You know what I mean? Opening, especially with the weight training stuff, for the equipment. I'm sorry, how much does that cost? Oh, okay. Oh wait, it's the same price for shipping. You know what I mean? Because when you're if you're buying, say, a lat pull down machine,
They
you know what
charge
I mean?
you per pound for the
Oh yeah,
shipping.
thousands of pounds too.
Yeah. So the iron itself and just the weight stack is called $1 a pound for iron, $300, and then the machine itself is another 800 pounds. And then okay, cool. Guess what? It's got to come to you, right? So there's another $1,000 for shipping for one piece, and it adds up before you realize. The craziest thing is when you start it and you underestimate, which is what I did. I underestimated the startup cost. I ended up having to take out a loan on top of kind of a loan on myself, because I couldn't really get a business loan when I started this place. I was 21. And the way I got my startup capital was I had great credit. So I called every card I had and said, hey, can I get a credit advance because this? Like, sure, no problem. And obviously you can't cash advance all that much. So I ended up spending and maxing out every single one of my cards on my own website to give myself the capital. And so I bought at least maybe 100 or so training programs from me. So my website had some great traffic that day.
Yeah, I'm sure.
After spending all that way quicker than I realized, I'm like, shit, I need a loan. So I had to go get a personal loan on top of that. And it was crazy. And after, obviously, way longer than you expect, with people putting on floorings and paintings, it was finally built up. But people don't understand how much goes into opening up a mortar and pestle.
Huge amount goes not only into it, but for me, the process of even getting the deal to open up the gym was again horrifying.
Well, you said I want you to take us through it if that's cool.
Yeah,
please,
100%.
please.
But before you even take us through that, I just want to kind of touch on one point. You said you stuck your fingers in your ear because you couldn't listen to everybody during the inconsistent times.
Yeah.
And I want to like really abbreviate that and make that a point because even for me, like I have up and down points. And I know a lot of other people in my industry and other industries, such as yours, personal training, whatnot.
All of us.
Yeah, there are so many peaks and valleys when it comes to it. But when you really stand there and dig your feet into the sand, and even though you have a slow month, you put those resources that you would normally be coaching, training, building up the business into learning, educating, doing other things, it winds up making the return in the long run.
Exactly.
And you have to understand that big picture, which a lot of people don't. They feel that 1-2 months of inconsistency, and then they throw the towel. I can't do it.
I mean, that's people in general on anything in life that's challenging. Sometimes I want to do this. Okay, good. You have to do this, and this is going to be hard. This is going to be really hard, and this may or may not work out. And people look at they look at what can go wrong, not what can go right, and what goes wrong scares the shit out of them. And then they go, it's like a weak mentality of like, oh, well, what if I try and I fail? I better not try. So it's also how bad do you want it? So if you like kind of want something and it's easy, you can get it done. Like I kind of want to go to the store right now and pick up a sandwich. That's easy. But it's like, I don't have a car and you have to walk 2 miles to go to the store in the cold. Do you really want that sandwich? No, I really want that sandwich. I'm walking 2 miles in the cold. I'm going to go get the sandwich.
That sandwich must be banging.
But no matter what that is, I mean, you have to say, how bad do I want it? And, you know, if something that you want to do, if something's inconsistent, you have to look at, okay, what's my alternative? What's my alternative? Like, if this doesn't work out the way that I want it to work out, what else am I going to do? And if you don't have an answer, then it's like, okay, well, I guess I better get to it.
Yeah.
So
that's what Josh said. Josh said, there's never a plan B. I will die to make this work.
I don't believe in plan B. And you know, my parents and maybe your parents or other people's parents always tell them like, well, if this doesn't work out, make sure you have something to fall back on. Like, fuck all that. Like, because if you automatically have a plan B, you're basically subconsciously sabotaging your dream to go like, oh, well, if it doesn't work, like I can always do this. But if you're going into if you're going to a situation with that mentality of like, well, if this doesn't work, I'm going to do this, you're not giving it 1,000%. You're giving it like 80%, 75%.
Yeah.
Well, I tried. It didn't work. You have to literally be able to jump off of a boat and see a beach and go, I'm willing to swim to that beach or I'm going to drown and die. And I'm at that point right now. So, like, as exciting as it is, it scares the shit out of me.
It's terrifying, man.
And
you got to embrace it. You got to let that fear push you.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was gonna say. Is like you'll never be more motivated in your life to be in a situation where you're all in on something. There is no retreat, and if you don't make it, you're fucked. So, like, if you have that kind of motivation to say, you know, oh, like if things don't go right and you have a plan B, you have like something to fall back on, you got a cushion, it's not such a big deal and you're not willing to work as hard at something when there is no backup. So when you don't have a backup and you put all your effort, your time, your energy, and everything into it, if you don't make it at that point, you know, either you're not good enough at what you do or you're not working hard enough at what you do, or you're not educated and you need to educate yourself more. I'm not talking about school. I'm talking about just in general of learning just general knowledge. And there's a lot of things that I didn't know before I went into business and boxing and training, and there's still things that I don't know, and I'm going to learn the more and more that I get there. But when you run into challenges, you have to say, okay, I'm going to put myself in a tunnel. I'm not watching Netflix every night. I'm not watching movies. I'm not going out to the bars and hanging out with my friends and drinking beer. I'm focused on what I need to do right now. And when I get to the point where I can sustain what I'm doing, maybe I'll put a little bit of leisure and extra time into it. But there's a lot of people that they want something really bad. And I have this goal. I need to focus on this. And then when they get out, they're bullshitting. They're scrolling on Instagram, stalking people's lives. They don't give a shit about what their actual goal is. It's very easy to say, like, this is what I want, and I'm willing to do whatever to get there. Okay, are you doing this, and this? Oh, no, I'm not doing that. Oh, wait, you're going on vacation for 2 weeks? Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
like,
must be nice.
It is nice. And again, that's that self-awareness thing where if, like, if you want something huge, you have to be willing to work like an animal to get there. Otherwise, don't say anything. Like, I don't want to hear like, I want to be a millionaire and I want to do this, I want to do that, and I only want to work part time, or like I'm not willing to put in all the extra hours and effort. So if you're not willing to do all the things that are required to get to that point, goals, life, business, relationships, whatever it may be, then either change your mentality and your mind about it, or say, oh, my actions don't lead to my desires and my goals, so I need to change something, whether it be the goal or the action.
Yeah, I say it all the time, an entrepreneur versus a wantrepreneur, right? And the fact of the matter is that's the true mentality of an entrepreneur. A wantrepreneur is somebody who wants to tell everybody, oh, this is what I do for a living, and they look up the max salary of the person doing it successfully. They look at the best entrepreneur and go, wow, Jeff Bezos makes this. They go, I want that salary. I want to tell people I do this for a living, but they don't understand what really goes into it. And they're not more than willing to then do anything besides Google how much they make to put any effort into it.
Yeah, and you have to work your face off to get there. And if you don't work your face off to get there, then you don't deserve it. Other than somebody
Absolutely.
walking into a yellow brick road where, and there's nothing wrong with this either, but if your family ran a business, a pizzeria, a diner, whatever, and it just got handed down to you and you walked into that position, listen, I'm happy for those people. They got a little bit lucky, that's fine. But if you say like, I want to accomplish something for myself and you're going to build it from the ground up, you better be prepared to work for it. And if you're not, then you're never going to get there.
And what's funny is the people who get stuff handed to them like that, usually the ones that lose it. Because they'll get something amazing handed to them, not realize what it took to build it there. They need at least half that effort to keep it there. Mm-hmm. They slack off, collect the checks, and, give it 3 years, what happened?
And they don't appreciate it as much.
Not at all.
Because they walked into something when it was already built. I mean, a lot of people right now see where I'm at right now with my training and the business and everything like that.
Oh, you're so lucky.
What? You took the words out of my mouth. When people tell me I'm so lucky,
I'm just saying
He was about to break your nose.
Oh yeah, please don't. Remember, dental and vision. Poke me in the eye. Just don't do anything else.
yeah, but people try to pull that luck shit on me, and even people told me like when I opened up the gym, like, oh my god, you're so lucky to have. I'm like, fuck you on that luck shit. Like I've been working weekends for 3.5 years. I've worked as many hours as humanly possible on the schedule that I was allowed to have at the current place. The previous place that I was training, and now I'm doing 13-hour days. Like I'm doing 9:30 in the morning till 9:30 at night. I have an hour to myself in the morning from 8:30 to 9:30, and I have an hour and a half to 2 hours at night for myself where I shower, eat food, and I'm like, oh shit, it's 45 minutes. I gotta go to sleep. So I'm working my ass off. So luck, I don't really believe in luck when you're an entrepreneur. When
You've been laying this damn foundation for years.
Yeah.
You're just seeing the building now.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all the things that you got to do to get to this point. And we talked about cost and starting up the gym and starting up the business. A little bit about my personal life. 4 years ago, I was living with my ex-girlfriend. I was living at home with my parents, and she was going to school. I was helping her go through school, and I was working part-time with my father and going to school and doing all this other stuff. And I wanted to get my own apartment, and I wanted to do this, and I wanted to do all these things. And I said, you know what? I'm going to live a little bit small now. I didn't like it. I didn't like living in the dungeon, but I did. And I saved all the money that I would have spent on rent. And I'm like, okay, I started doing math, $1,500 a month on an apartment. Over the course of a year, you're talking about $17,000, $18,000. Over the course of 3 years, $50,000, $55,000. That's
down payment.
Yeah.
And that's real money to say, okay, like I'm gonna sacrifice now so then make a bigger move later. Mm-hmm. And that word sacrifice to me means, there's hustle, there's ambition, there's passion, there's dream. Sacrifice to me is the biggest thing, because if you're not willing to sacrifice the things that you want to do, or sacrifice your time or the things that you need to do to get to that point, again, in my opinion, you don't deserve it. You haven't earned it. So I'm really big on sacrificing.
Daily sacrifice equals future luck and opportunity. For when somebody else looks at it, wow, you're lucky you have $50,000. Oh, really?
You know my favorite saying: the harder I work, the luckier I get.
Yeah, man.
That's
It makes
my
sense.
favorite shit ever. The harder I work, the luckier I get.
Because then it's not luck.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, let everyone keep saying you're lucky. Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm lucky that I've missed out on parties, and I missed out on family events to make sure that I was still doing what I had to do for the business and growing this thing to the exponential rate that it needed to be to get me on my own, in my own studio, in my own office, whatever it might be. 3 years ago, I picked up a camera. I bought a camera for vlogging about my weight loss journey. That's what I bought a camera for. And an ex-girlfriend of mine asked me to do a video for her at the gym. And I said, okay. So I did a video for her at the gym. And then all the pros that I'm friends with asked me, hey, Nick, you mind doing a video for me? Sure. Did a video for them. Oh, you know what? I could buy a stabilizer. It would help with the footage, and bought a stabilizer. Then I bought better lenses. Then I bought audio devices. One thing led to another. I booked every single weekend. Couldn't. I mean, this is before John and I were like super close. Could barely have a conversation with me at the gym. People would be like, "No, Nick, we gotta do something. Blessed, appreciate it. Didn't have to do any outside searching. Still worked a main job. Worked every single weekend. Then it got to the point where I hated my main job. Couldn't do it anymore. And I just said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm quitting. Quit. Rough couple months.
Yeah.
I was in sales and working retail before that, but then I was in B2B, B2C sales for, I don't know, a combined 7 years after 10 years of retail. That is some scary shit when you don't have that check coming in every 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
And you finally say, all right, I'm on my own. And people are like, okay, well, what about this weekend? You're like, no, I can shoot during the week now. They're like, okay, well, I got my job. And it's like, oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah, I forgot. Like, we were meeting on the weekend because everyone else had work. So, scary times. However, weathered the storm, started working with companies, got a bunch of great opportunities, worked with some really big names, really big companies down the line. And then that has now led me to 3 years later. Never thought I had my own office.
But imagine if you would have quit, you never would have got to this point.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, when you said when the going gets tough and when you get that like doubt and that insecurity, everybody has that, especially when things aren't going good. You just have to figure out, what am I willing to do about it? If you want to sit there and beg and wish or like, oh, like, you know, hope, like, or you could work for it. Like, I'm really big into hard work. I'm really big into hard work and sacrifice and all the things that you bought this, you bought that. You know, maybe that could have been you going on a vacation. Maybe that would have been you buying a new fucking Gucci belt. That could have been whatever the hell you wanted it to be.
Yeah.
But you said, you know what, that's not what's important to me right now. So I'm going to do what's important to me. And you followed it and you kept on doing more and more things. You worked at it. And when you're willing to work at something and you put your mind to it, like you said, it's the harder you work, the luckier you're getting. And it makes sense like that.
I have a ton of videographers, a ton of guys across the country that I not only am friends with now because of this, but that ask me my advice. They ask me advice on shoots, what equipment they think they'll need. They ask me advice on pricing, how to deal with clients that are giving them feedback and kickback, stuff like that. I think that is awesome, and I embrace all of it. Like, some people get annoyed about it. Like, I know other video guys like, oh, what, this guy was asking me what lens I use. Who gives a fuck? Tell him what lens you use.
Yeah.
Like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Be that resource. That's just extra shit. That's just extra good kudos and good vibes thrown your way. Will you talk about the respect thing?
Yeah.
Super big on respect. I am friends with everybody. I love everybody. Someone gives me a reason not to love them, fuck you. Door's over there. Don't come near me again.
Yeah.
Now you don't get to eat at my table. I don't want to see you starve, but it's not my table that you get to sit at.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
And I'm totally cool with that. And it took a lot of years of maturing to do that. But for business and just in general, I've found that weathering the storm, sinking your feet in deep when it gets rough. The hardest part for me, like I said, the money. The monetary situation, because I take care of so much on my own, and I have since I was 15, because I've always had jobs. Those little inconsistencies where you start dipping into the savings of the business account. It's like, and then that starts to dwindle. You're like, and then you get a wave of jobs. You're like, oh shit, all right, I can eat steak today. But it's exactly like you said. This is your baby. This is my baby. I mean, what we're doing is living out our vision of what our dream is. So it's not easy for you. It's not easy for me. It's not easy for John.
Yep.
I mean, the biggest advice we can give anybody listening that might be struggling with some shit, bite the bullet, man.
And don't give up. I mean, the giving up thing is, you know, there's so many memes that you see where, like, on Instagram, I'll see the meme where the guy's like digging and digging and digging, and like the diamond is like a fucking inch away, and he gives up and he walks away, and he would have just walked into something beautiful. But you know, that's where you just have to say, you got to keep going. You got to keep going. And we mentioned it before, when I was trying to open up the business, it took me a year and a half to get to the deal. A year and a half ago, I came to the realization, said, okay, I'm going to open up my own gym. I'm going to open up my own facility. So what do? I go on LoopNet. LoopNet's a commercial app that you get to find your places and stuff like that. I go on LoopNet, I do a search. I started searching around. This didn't fit the area. That didn't fit the area. This one was too small. This one's too big. I have a 18-foot boxing ring. I need to fit that into the place. So the store's got to be at least 24 wide because you need a 4-foot walkway, and it's got to be a foot from the wall. So like very, very specific criteria on just the size and the width of the store, and then how much is it going to cost me? Can I afford it? And then what area is it in? And now the biggest part, what I was saying before with opening up the gym, is the zoning. The zoning is the worst thing in the opening up a gym is the hardest thing to do.
Really?
Period. Because I found 5 places, and this is before I knew anything about zoning or real estate or any of that stuff or like the town codes and all this shit. I found 4 stores that were perfect, fit the budget, fit the size, parking lot, main road, emergency exit, literally had every single requirement on paper that would say, you can open up a gym over here. And then after negotiating with the landlord for a month, finally him going, okay, we got a deal, you got to go to the town. All right? And when you go to the town, by the way, fuck town of Hempstead because you guys suck. You guys scare away business. I try to open up multiple locations in the town of Hempstead. And
Don't send the check. Stay far away from us.
But they discourage small business. So I try to open up the store, and then, well, that store is not zoned for your use. I'm like, what does that mean? They're like, oh, well, it's zoned for retail. I'm like, so you can sell stuff out of there, but I can't have a gym here?
I can't sell services and
No.
What about a
supplements?
shirt?
No, I thought about everything.
I know,
I'm like,
I know.
oh, let me have a retail here and a train. No. Like, so you can't, if you plan on getting a business for like a dance studio, a music place, a karate place, a boxing place, any kind of service kind of industry. Sport, anything to where people, I can have a business where people gather to read books. If you are doing something where people gather in a business, and it's going to be more than 12 people in the business, or you even have the square footage to fit more than 12 people in the business, you need some horrific word called public assembly. Public assembly is this gigantic monster, which basically says that if you don't have this super fancy piece of paper, that you can't have a service kind of business where people can come to your place and assemble in your place to use your kind of service for whatever that may be. Now, if you run a Starbucks, if you run a deli, you can have 50 people come into your store, but you're selling things so people are going in and out. But if I want to have 12 people work out in my boxing gym, you need a special permit. Okay, fine. I'll get the permit. How do I get the permit? Well, the permit costs $20,000 to go through the process. It takes 8 to 10 months of going through the process, and you got to hire this person and that person and this person, and you have to do all these things. And at the end of 8 to 10 months, maybe if they feel like it, they'll give you the permit. Meanwhile, you're paying rent to the landlord because the landlord's not giving you 8 months of free rent.
No, I don't give a shit.
No, they're giving you 2 months. After that, fuck you. You figure it out.
Yeah.
So you're gonna pay the landlord 6 months rent at $5,000 for a month. You're gonna spend $30,000 just to give the landlord to see if you can open the store. You can't even build it in the process. So $30,000 to give it to the store owner, the landlord, to be able to keep the store. $20,000 to go through the process. I just spent 50 G's, and at the end they can go no. So to go through that process, and I went through that like 4 or 5 times, where I was trying to get out the stores and like, oh well, let's see if we're gonna. Oh, they don't have public assembly, and I'm like, nope, I'm not going through that process. And then again, store after store, I kept finding places, and I kept on getting shut down by the town, and the town was just like, nope, not zoned for this.
It was all the town of Hempstead?
It was all the town of Hempstead. They suck because I wanted to open up my business there. I'm trying to bring money to the town. I'm trying to service people in the area so I can, bring people into the town, pay the tax, all that stuff. And they basically scared away the small business to go, you know what? It's not zone this, and this. And they make the process either near impossible or unaffordable. I'm not LA Fitness. I don't got millions of dollars backing me. I'm one person that worked my ass off to get here. So, like, I can't go through that $50,000 process to get an okay, to then spend 60, 70 plus to set my gym up and then run the thing. You know,
It's hard enough to go once. I know John has something to say. It's hard enough to go once with that process, but then I'd have to go 2-3 times. Is insanity.
No, I honestly, when I found out about the process, I was like, you know, I'm not doing that. I need to find another store. I can't do that. And after finding 5 deals, and the town said no to all the deals, I'm like, you know what? Fuck town of Hempstead. I'm going somewhere else. So I went to the village of Mineola. I found a place that was already a gym, and I took it over. I went back and forth, and I tried to make the deal happen, and we finally came to an agreement after a month of negotiating, and I'm in business now. But it was a nightmare. Like, after the 4th deal fell through, I was like, you know what? Like, I was so frustrated. I'm like, you know, fuck it, I don't want to do this anymore. Just off of like getting discouraged, off of not even being given the opportunity to do what I wanted to do. And like, I was willing to work hard for it. I was putting all the legwork in. I made the deal. You know, you screw over the landlord, you screw over the business owner. The landlord wants to rent the store. I want to rent the store. And the town's fucking everybody over. And I'm like, you know what? I have to go somewhere else.
You know what the legal side of the American dream nowadays
I was
is?
gonna say.
We don't care about your dream anymore as long as we get our dollar. They're not going to make a sales tax on your service industry. You know what I mean? That's the bottom fucking line.
But it was crazy because, you know, if you would have made the process a month or 2 months, and even if the fee would have been that, I wouldn't have been happy about it. But okay, fine, I'll pay the money. It's not. But to make it a goal, or to make it a process to where you don't know what the outcome's going to be, and the time and the money to go behind it, like, nobody's going to want to do that. Even people with money don't want to do that.
Because they don't want them there. They want the people who are going to get sales tax in. Do you think they're busy for 8 months doing, what was it called? Public
assembly.
Public assembly for how many businesses?
No, they're scratching their ass.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're like, all right, jerk this guy around till he doesn't want to do anymore. We got his 20 grand. Well, he found somewhere else. But this yogurt shop wants to come in and give us sales tax money? Sure, no problem.
Yeah, so, I mean, that whole process of trying to open up the gym in the service industry and get the proper zoning was horrific for me. And
The hoops that they make you go through is just insane. And that's as a small business owner in general. Because it's not just the towns, because they definitely do their own share of fucking, but it's just the taxing, everything. You would think that government, and you think that publications and everything like that, they would want people to want to open up their own businesses and bring more revenue. And so, but what winds up happening? They wind up screwing you on the taxes. They wind up screwing you on zoning, all kinds of bullshit fees and legalities that you have to run through, and this and that. And it winds up being an unenjoyable experience to open up your own business and be a business owner.
And they scared me out of the town. I was ready to open up, and I had all these deals, and they said no. They said no. I kept seeing the same guy every single week. I just keep going back to him. I'm like, I found this place. And the process is you have to go down, you have to talk to him, you take the day off of work. They do a property search. They look at this, and nope, zone for retail. I'm like, this is unbelievable.
Can they unzone or rezone something?
Yeah, that's the process of going through the 8 to 10 months to file for public assembly. It's not like a 1 month thing, and you talk to a guy, you pay a little bit of money, and they make it right away. And like you said, like, what are they really so booked with cases for 10 months?
No, because it's the pain in the ass. Who the fuck's going to do it?
Nobody.
No one's doing it.
Nobody.
And for Hempstead, I mean, listen, I could understand maybe Brookville or somewhere with like crazy, wealth around the area that you wanted, but Hempstead?
And I did exactly what a crazy story is I did exactly what the person from the town of Hempstead told me to do. They said, because after I brought him 5 places that I already had deals with the landlords. I already like negotiated with them, got to the deal, went to town like, I got a deal. Tell me this is going to work. Nope. And just completely killed my deal. And after that happened 5 times, I'm like, what can I do to open up a gym? Tell me how to open up a gym the right way in your town. We'll find a place that's already a gym. They'll already be zoned, and then take over that place. Okay, great. And I'm driving up down Hempstead Turnpike, driving all over the place. There was a place that was a martial arts studio. It was called Tiger Martial Arts. If you're familiar with Miller's Ale House in Levittown,
right there.
Yeah.
right next door to Miller's Ale House is
right under almost like the building. It's like the bottom floor, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And right next to that was Tiger Martial Arts. They were Nassau County's longest running martial arts studio. They've been around for 20 plus years, and they went out of business. And I was negotiating with the landlord, had everything figured out back and forth. I said, okay, fine. I finally got it. I went to town. I said, look, I got it. And I saw the guy, and I had this like stupid smirk on my face, like, I got it. I finally got it. Here's the place. He did the property search and all this other stuff. And then after all that, he goes, I got bad news for you. I was like, I don't even want to imagine what you're about to tell me right now, because I did exactly what you told me to do. And now you're telling me I got bad news. What's the bad news? The bad news is that they didn't have the proper zoning. I said, So I said, hold on. There's a gym that's been open for 20 plus years that this is real shit.
Yeah.
That has been open. They filed to get like this kind of construction paperwork, and they never got the permit because they weren't there the right way.
Sick.
And after the town already knew about it, they let them stay there for 13 years, and they never shut them down. But I'm the new guy on the block. I'm trying to open up a business the right way and go to the town to go, hey, look, this, and this. And they didn't let me do it. And like, I asked a couple people, like attorneys, like, what happens if I say, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to do it anyway? They said, well, they're going to come down, they'll put a stop work order on the store, and they'll completely shut down your business. So if you do it illegally,
They're like the mafia.
if you do it illegally and don't tell them about it and you're up and running and they don't catch you, you're fine. But if you want to do it the right way, I'm coming to you like a gentleman with my hand out. I'm trying to shake your hand and do business the right way, and you're telling me to go fuck myself. But if I tell you to go fuck yourself and you don't catch on to it, I'm good. How does that work? Like, it was so backwards, and I was trying to figure that out, and I was confused by it. And they shut down that deal too, and I was completely baffled by it. And I said, okay, I got to get out of this town. And thankfully, I found a place in Mineola, and it worked out really well that way.
The laws are written out by a bunch of people who, pretty sure they weren't passionate about politics, but they ended up doing it. So that's them pissed off 95% of the people in the world driving to work, going, fuck this, you know what, I had a bad day, fuck you too.
Yeah.
Fuck these small business owners.
Yeah.
Going to work happy.
I'm sorry I can't afford a lobbyist, but you know what? It sucks.
Yeah, it really did. But I kept with it, because again, after losing 5 deals, my frustration, and I was in such a rut, because I'm like, here I am working my ass off to build something and have a dream to get this, to then work my ass off even more than I ever have before, and you're not even allowing me the opportunity to do that. And I'm like, these guys are fucking with me. And then I eventually again found that deal, and when I found the deal, I said okay, and I just made it happen. I just opened up on December 29th.
So that's awesome, man.
Congrats.
There you go, baby.
Thank you.
We got to stop by. We got to come. Got to check the gym out, man.
That would be great. It's a nice facility. It's the biggest boxing gym in Long Island. It's 3,300 square feet. Bigger than I wanted to, but when it was owned and it was this, I'm like, fuck it. I'm not losing this. I'm not losing it. Done. Let's do it. Exactly.
What are you near?
I'm 2 blocks away from Chaminade High School.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Perfect.
okay, awesome.
Nice.
I'm on Jericho Turnpike right by Herrick's Road.
I used to go to the bar at your mother's house. I used to go to your mother's house all the time for.
I'm like 3-4 blocks away from
The
there.
fucking name.
That's why
I
said
tell
it first.
people, yeah.
I said the bar because I didn't want people listening. They're like, he goes to his mother's house.
Fuck
What
Nick.
a jerk off.
Somebody told me, it's funny because somebody, when I had never heard about that restaurant, and they told me, somebody's like, oh, you want to go watch the fights? I'm like, yeah, where do you want to go? He's like, let's go to your mother's house. I'm like, yeah? I was like, no.
Caveman DNA starts to come out. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know, there was a gym. I was living in Chelsea at the time. There's a gym called Bar's Gym. So it's like, what? We go to the gym? Yeah, I'm at the bar.
I'm at the bar.
Let's go to the bar.
Bar's Gym. That's in Chelsea?
It was in Chelsea, yeah.
Okay.
But you know what? I want to touch on one more thing, too. How hard it is to get those permits. You take somebody who maybe isn't as fortunate as, let's say, you, for example, right? To be smart enough to go find another town. Say you have the best baker in the world, right? They're really good at their craft. But that type of stuff scared them away, so that product was never available to the public. You take the best, say, tailor out there, right? They make this product that's unbelievable, could have changed people's lives, but because they couldn't get those zonings, and it scared them away to the point where the world was never open to their ideas, to what they could have done for the community or for everybody.
And that's horrible. I mean,
sucks. It's
just
so sad.
For any kind of
Discouraging.
Very discouraging. I mean, there's a lot of people. Even myself, I was like, fuck it, I don't even want to do it anymore.
Depressing.
It was depressing. It was because
depressing,
I was trying to follow my dreams, and I'm working my ass off to get there. And I have somebody behind a desk that was like, nah, you can't do it. And I'm like, guys, like, help me out. Like, I'm trying to open up a business. I'm trying to like work. I'm
Trying to do things the right way.
Yeah. And they made it literally impossible. So I said, okay. And if either you're gonna stop or you're gonna find another way. I found another way. So I relocated.
Yeah, and
So
you know what?
it worked
It's
out that
kind of funny. That's like the final test of the entrepreneur, where you put all the groundwork down now, and now it goes. The legal part of it is, what do you mean I can't do it here? After all this, what do you mean that doesn't work? What do you mean I'm not allowed to do this? You find the way around it. You fucking go through a year and a half to open the door.
Yeah.
Man, it's fucking crazy.
It is, but if you have a will to get there, then you will. And I said, okay, what's another area I can go to? And then I checked out the town of North Hempstead, and they were just as bad. So I was like, shit, now what? Okay, and then I said, oh, let me go to Westbury. And then I went to Westbury because Westbury's a village. But Westbury, I honestly wasn't the area I was looking for. And then I found the village of Mineola, and villages have their own kind of like their own way of doing things with different processes, and the same exact process of like public assembly, this and that. And Mineola would took a month, and I'm like, so wait, this place is doing it for a month. I went back to the town of Hempstead. I'm like, guys, they're doing a month. Why are you taking 8 months? Like, speed that shit up. Let's go.
They see him walking in the parking. They see him walking in the parking lot. They're like, "What was the opening? A boxing gym? Fuck, he's back again." They all run. It's lunchtime.
He brought his gloves this time.
Yeah, I didn't walk in there very pleasantly because I was just so upset because of the fact they kept turning me down. But yeah, I went to the village, and they do their own thing like that, and it's very encouraging for businesses to do stuff like that. To go to a place that wants them to be there. That's why I went.
So let me ask you, what does it feel like every morning when you open up the boxing gym? You put the keys in the door, open it.
It's a mixed emotion. I mean, it's super gratifying, and I'm very excited. But it's the first month of any business, or first 5 months, 6 months, year and a half. You're rebuilding something. So I'm already walking into a business with a kind of a current existing business and clientele, but I'm building something brand new again. So it's exciting to go through that. It's nerve-wracking because overhead and bills and this and that. And I love it when people are like, oh, be patient, you'll get there. Like, fuck you, be patient. Tell my bills to be patient. Yeah. It doesn't work like that.
That's what happened to me at the end of December. Everybody started pushing off shoots because everyone's on Christmas vacation, and then even early January. I'm like, guys, let's go. Yeah, well, I'm like, nah, my bills don't know. They're hitting me on every time the credit cards do. Hey, by the way, man, you do. And I'm sitting here like, oh, shit. I got to wait for everybody who's dragging their feet in the mud. And I told everybody, I said, yo, listen, please, everybody, get your shoots in because I know what's going to happen. Everyone's going to want to do shit starting February.
All at the same time.
And what's happening now? What's happening? And now I'm away for a couple of days to go get the dog at the end of February, early March. I'm like, guys, I told everybody. Some people are like, oh, well, we want to run this because the New Year's resolutioners. I'm like, we should have been talking about this in December. Fuck we doing now in January? So it's that nerve-wracking feeling. I get it.
It's super nerve-wracking because, I mean, I'm excited because it took me 5 years of building my business and a year and a half of trying to open a gym to get to this point. And now that I'm at this point, like, it's not like, oh, well, you did it and now you're here. It is, but you're climbing a whole nother mountain.
Day one
like,
again.
It's climbing a mountain to get to the top of a mountain and then looking up and seeing a mountain that's 10 times the size and going, all right, you got to get up there now. And it's like, whoa, it's exciting and it's challenging. It's nerve-wracking. It's scary. Honestly, I'm scared to shit right now, but I'm motivated and I'm working hard. And the one thing that I feel that as a business owner, the one thing that you can control is how hard you work. The economy you can't control, or the area, this and that, but you can control how hard you're willing to work. And I'm working my ass off. I literally can't be working any harder right now. So I'm proud that I've gotten to this point, and I'm gonna stay consistent until I get to the point where I'm trying to get to. And even after I get to that point, I have to maintain it. So it's very gratifying to get to this point, but it's scary. Yeah, I have no other way of saying it. It's scary.
But the fear is also helping you drive.
It is. I mean, you're never going to be more motivated than being in a position where it's sink or swim. It's sink or swim, and not so many people want to leave a comfort zone. I talk to my friends about this a lot. Like, where I was at, where I was training, like I was with when I was renting at Rebel Thai Boxing East Meadow, like financially I was doing all right. My bills were a lot lower, and I had more free time, and like this wasn't like a financial move that I needed to make, because financially I was doing fine. Like I actually took like 10 steps backwards to hopefully then take a bunch of steps forward after that. But I went completely backwards, which for most people go like, wait, I'm in a really good position right now. Why would I leave this good position to put myself in a really bad position? Because I'm doing that to try to catapult myself forward after that. So I put myself in a position where I was in my comfort zone. I was making good money. I had good hours. I had a little bit of work-life balance, I guess, a little bit. And I went from that to, putting myself in this position now where I'm going to be struggling for the near future until I get to that point. And I'm working hard, and I have faith that I will, be successful, and I'll get to that point. But it's
treating it as a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes, but it's also scary to say, hey, put yourself out of your comfort zone, to put yourself in deep water and then try to swim back to a comfort zone. Not so many people want to do that. Like, I was sitting on a nice, comfortable beach. I was happy on the beach that I was at, but I saw an oasis. I saw this big, nice island. But now to get to that island, you have to get off the beach. How are you going to get off the beach? You have to go through the waves. They're going to drown you and throw you around and bash you on the floor. You have to get past the sharks that are outside of the waves. You have to get past all those things. And when you get to the ocean, you're going to be kind of sailing, but you're swimming your ass off to get there. And that's where I'm at right now. I just put my foot in the water, and now the waves, I'm looking at the waves like, oh shit, that was a big one. So that's where I'm at right now.
Listen, I'm super pumped that you have the gym, that it just opened. I didn't know it was this soon that it opened.
Yeah,
so
really.
That's amazing, first and foremost.
Thank you.
So what are you specializing in at the gym? Obviously boxing.
Boxing.
Is it just you there? Do you have other trainers? What is it?
It is just me.
Cool.
It is just me. I'm doing everything myself. I have
what type of classes and whatnot?
So I do at 10 a.m. I have classes Monday through Friday. I have bag work classes. People hit the heavy bags. Mitt work classes where they partner up and hold the mitts for each other, the pads for each other. And I have sparring classes as well. So I do my classes that are 10 to 11. I take a half an hour break from 11 to 11:30 to like answer an email, pick up a phone call, edit an Instagram video, something like that. I do private lessons from 11:30 to 4:30, so 5 hours straight. I take an hour lunch break, 4:30 to 5:30, and I teach from 5:30 to 9 o'clock at night.
Damn, man.
I'm hustling.
I love it.
I'm hustling.
And your term of a break is still getting work done.
Yeah, I'm getting work done on my break, and even while I'm eating lunch. How many times last week I was sat down for a lunch break, and the second I sat down, the phone rang. Okay, I get off the phone, then somebody walked in. I'm like, okay. And then somebody else walked in. I'm like, okay. And then the second I try to even bite my food, my next class starts in 15 minutes. I'm like, shit, I haven't eaten any food today.
And now what's crazy about all this, though, is although it's crazy to think about it in your scheduling in that way, in that aspect, it's so much better than being dead, man. So
Yes.
We would so prefer that than anything else.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
But it's, the one thing that for any businesses is that some things can get a little bit overwhelming. Like, for instance, like I have 35 text messages unanswered in my phone right now. I have emails. I have 11 Instagram messages. Like, I get backed up on stuff to where I'm like, holy shit, where am I going to get the time to do some of this stuff? And then when you don't get it done, it piles up and you get more shit the next day. So, like, the one thing that would be good is, like, I'm sure, like, I'm not exactly sure how you guys do your own thing, but if you had people booking shows for you and you just showed up to do the shows, that would be amazing, But if you had to book all your own shows, and
I book all the shows, so does John if he has any guests, and I do the audio editing. John helps out with the video. We both kind of split clips together, and then I'm also dealing with all my clients, all the companies I work for, all the different stuff, and maintaining all that. So
I do a lot of that myself too, and it's part of the process.
Wear every hat.
Yeah, and that's what I'm doing. I mean, I wish I did have somebody that can answer the phone, pick up the email, do the scheduling, like take away of like the little knick-knack things that aren't super hard to do, but it's just time consuming. And if I had a little less pressure off of that, I can get a little bit more done somewhere else. But you only have so many hours in the day. You have to get the important shit done.
What's crazy is that's the beauty of an entrepreneurial life right now, is being able to handle every single niche by yourself allows us to do this. Because I know if I had to hire a lawyer for all my legal work and an accountant to do this and a legal person to do this and a marketer to do this and not having social media, there's no way I'd be able to open up my gym with that many hands in the pot.
No.
You know what I mean? So it's the same thing. If you had to hire 3 different secretaries, somebody to answer mailers, somebody do this, somebody do this, while you're trying to just teach the classes, there's no way it could have happened.
No, and it eats into the pie big time. And
Exactly.
when business goes by and when things are going well, I plan on having staff to help me with a lot of that stuff. But in the beginning, you're doing everything yourself because you don't have the payroll to do that. So you have to wear every hat, as you guys were saying.
You know, it's trying to share a piece of the pie when you don't have all the ingredients to make the pie yet.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
I like that, man. That was great. Fucking heard you hear that before? You come
No,
up with that.
that was in my head. I'm just kind of hungry.
Oh damn, man. I had the Lucky Charm shake from VMI before. That shit is good, man.
Lucky Charm shake.
Yeah. It's like a little. I'll have to
Yeah,
show
yeah.
you. They had a little marshmallow Lucky Charms. I'm getting sidetracked. I'm super hungry too. So good. So if people want to get to the gym, they want to see you, all that stuff. How do they plug yourself? Plug the business.
Yeah, so we're Slick Sluggers Boxing is 460 Jericho Turnpike. For everybody that likes to try out the gym, want to see what boxing's about, I do a trial. So for the trial, they get 1 private lesson and 1 group class for $20. So in a private lesson, they get a private lesson with one of my advanced students that help them with their fighting position, their footwork, and their straight punches, just to give them a nice foundation of what it's like to do some boxing training. And after that, they jump into a group class, and if they like it and they want to continue, I have a few different options. I have group class memberships, I have private lessons, I have open gym, so I have a few different things available. It's just different people need different things. Some people want to do one-on-one, some people like the group, some people do both. Some people want to just come down and do their own thing when they can. So, I have a little bit of everything, and I cater to everybody. Although I am a boxing gym and my passion is for fighters and people that want to compete and fight, I train regular everyday people all the time. People that are into fitness, people that are into self-defense, kids that get picked on in school, house moms that want to just get a workout, guys that are older, like, hey, boxing's cool, I want to work out, and then people that say, like, I want to fight and I want to compete. So my business caters to literally everybody. So I have a little bit of everything for everybody, and it's just a matter of getting people to take that step forward. It's not so easy for anybody in general to go like, I'm going to walk into a boxing gym. Like, it's intimidating. Not so many people, because like you watch movies or you hear things or you have like a preconceived notion of like,
They think it's gonna be Creed 2 in there.
you're going to walk into a gym and like there's going to be these mean, rough people. Like my gym, everyone is super cool in my gym. If you're not super cool in the gym, you're not allowed to be there. Like I just opened up, I've turned away at least 5 people that I had a bad vibe from, or like they had that tough guy bullshit going on, and I won't have that in the gym. Like, so if, everybody that's coming into the gym has to be super cool. Everyone's super respectful, and I have everybody in the gym, every background, age, this, that, religion. I don't care about none of that stuff. Everybody respects everybody. Everyone treats everybody with respect. Treats me with respect, and it's a very friendly environment. And most boxing gyms are not like that. Most boxing gyms are like that rough and tough, that ego, that. It's just like
Dick swinging contest.
They genuinely want to punch somebody in the face.
And we could do that, which is the whole point. But you want to making friends like that. It sounds crazy to like regular people that haven't been around boxing or fighting and stuff. But like you're showing up to the gym, you're buddies with somebody. You jump in there, you beat the hell out of each other, and after that you're hugging, you're hanging out, and like, oh, we can get together next week. Like, and it's that like that brotherhood that you build in the gym. So I have a little bit of everything for everybody. It's I have a couple different challenges when people come into the gym, but I'm working my way through it.
So do you have a website somebody can check all this out again?
Yeah,
or
how do you
like
schedule? Is it just people calling up, or is it?
It's a combination of everything. So some people hit me up on my Instagram, which is at Slick Sluggers Boxing. I have a website, slicksluggersboxing.com, and then
And how is Slick spelled?
SLICK.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure there was like just one C or anything or just the C and
Gotcha.
then it
Or
goes on.
Q.
Yeah, slicksluggersboxing.com or Instagram slicksluggersboxing. The gym is 516-493-9889. And most people call me on my cell phone or hit me up directly through my website. But it's really exciting, and the phone's been ringing. A lot of people have been hitting me up, which is beautiful.
So happy for you.
That's amazing.
And it's been a long time coming, and people that I know from 3-4 years ago, like, oh man, I've always been waiting for you to open up your own place, and now that I have, people have been coming by, so I hope to continue that.
That's
Yeah,
awesome,
man.
man.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna definitely come by.
That would be great.
We gotta
I'll-
we gotta stop having fighters on here because
Yeah,
Garrett's
now
gonna
Garrett
throw us
wa-
on the floor and you're gonna punch us.
Garrett said he wants
We're
to
gonna
roll
get
with us. No,
We're gonna get some
fucking
bakers
way.
on here.
I'm gonna need my dog. Gareth, wait for my dog to be full grown so we can tag team this fight against you. All right, get his leg. Get his leg. I'll get to the top. And he still fuck us up. Listen, man, absolute pleasure having you on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You
man.
are the homie.
Thank you.
I'm so glad that we got linked up, connected, all that. And when I say it, we're gonna make time. I'm in DC next week, but maybe the following or the week after.
Definitely.
If weekends are better, I want to come, John and I.
Absolutely,
And,
man.
we'll plug the gym.
Definitely, that would be great. I mean, a Friday night the gym is closed. A Saturday the gym is also closed. So if you guys want to do a Friday night or a Saturday anytime during the day, it'll be just us in the gym. So I'll take care of you.
Cool.
guys.
you go.
Done. Done
That'll
deal.
be the thumbnail. John and Nick get into a fight.
It'll be a great time.
Oh, I've got
man,
to
looking
fight in
forward to
years,
it.
man. I'll get my ass kicked, man. I'm
You
too,
kidding me?
I'm too friendly now.
I move like a brick wall.
That is true, and he can't breathe to begin with because of his voice and his deviated
Yeah.
septum, so he'd probably just fall over. But listen, I'm gonna have John kick this outro off.
So I want to thank everybody for tuning in to this week's episode of The Voice.
And Rizzles, joined by my man.
Coach Nick from Sluggers Boxing.
Let's go, baby. Boom.